What up, everyone? So, I want to come back and do a special little video, and this is going to be all about Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. Now, I wanted to make a video about this for a while, but I've gotten busy, and a lot of announcements have come up, so I wanted to make sure to jump on this before it becomes old news. And I know everyone and their mother has been posting about it, but I have some things I want to talk about and discuss and show you guys that may be different from what a lot of other people are saying. So, as most of you know, there has been a supposed leak of the entire roster for Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. And people are furious. People are uproarious about this. They're so upset. And I want to talk about this logically, without getting all emotional about it, because I think the reality of the situation is you really shouldn't be surprised. Everyone is in shock about this, but you shouldn't be surprised. I'm surprised that these people are surprised. I'm surprised you would expect anything different. So I'm here not to be pissed off and make a rant video, but to be the voice of reason, to talk about this logically. Not to get pissed off, but to look at the facts, because that's what I do on this channel. Everyone knows I'm very statistical logical. Take the numbers, compute them, and come up with a realistic situation of what's going to happen. And I'm pretty good at determining these things, so that's what I want to talk about. So we're going to talk about the leak, we're going to talk about what's going on with it, we're going to look at the reality of it, what to expect in the future, what to expect from this game, and also do some character speculation, which at this point would be the DLC speculation, which is a video I've wanted to do for a while, and I just haven't got around to it. But now is just as good a time as any, now that we know most of the roster. So first, I want to talk about a quick overview of the game. And what, the funny thing about it is, there's really so far nothing to be excited about, nothing I've been excited about. And don't get me wrong, Marvel vs. Capcom has been my life. When the third one was announced, I don't think I've ever been so excited for something in my entire life. I shit you not. I think I was less excited to lose my virginity than I was when Marvel vs. Capcom 3 was announced. I looked up that stuff religiously. I was on Google News 2 and 3 times a day, every single day, just waiting for any character to be announced, so I couldn't have been more excited. But there was something to be excited about. It was going from 2D to 3D. All these new characters were coming out. It had Deadpool in it. And there was, since the Marvel vs. Capcom 2, so many new characters have been invented. And there was so much more to do. So many more Capcom games had come out. So it was a big deal. Now, when this one was announced, there's not that much that's happened in between the two. There's really not many new characters that have come into existence since that game, so there wasn't a ton to be excited about. The initial announcement was exciting because who knows what's going to happen. But beyond that, there really wasn't anything to be excited about because they haven't showed anything new. Everything they've showed up until this point is old news, with the exception of 2 or 3 new characters. They have Mega Man X, which I'm stoked about, but we still haven't seen anything. We've seen practically no gameplay footage from that character other than the small tidbits that were in the initial release, and that was just cut together stuff, so we really don't know much. The only thing we've really seen extensively that's new is Ultron. He had some gameplay trailers and he looks okay. Like, there's nothing really special about him. Like, he's an okay character. I think he's cool, but, you know, whatever. But that's kind of it. There's nothing to be excited about. And honestly, the things that I liked about the Marvel vs. Capcom series have now been removed from the game. Like assists. I think that's such a big deal, and it's crazy that they removed that from the game because that's what made Marvel vs. Capcom Marvel vs. Capcom. That's what set it apart from all the other games, was the craziness of it. That you could call an assist, and the whole thing was 3 versus 3, and now they're going back to 2 versus 2. Now they're making it like every other crossover game. They're making it just like Street Fighter Cross Tekken, and Tekken Tag, and all those other games. They're making it exactly like those other ones. They've taken away the things that made it special. So basically what I'm trying to say, or to sum up, is that there's been nothing to be excited about yet, because we have so little information. The reason I bring this up is because there's also nothing to be upset about. People are so angry and upset about this announcement and the leak, and I'm here to say that there's really nothing to be upset about. Everyone just needs to calm down, relax, and look at this logically. I'll admit myself, when I first saw it, I was surprised at the whole only being 28 characters, but then I thought about it for a day after watching 10,000 rant videos about people being pissed off that there's really nothing to be pissed about. So that's why I'm playing devil's advocate. There's nothing to be excited about, there's also nothing to be mad about yet. It could go either way, but for now, we just don't have enough information to form opinions. There's nothing to get excited about, nothing to be mad about, because we don't have that much information. We have very small tidbits of a very big picture. And people always do this, and I'm always the voice of reason in my group of friends. Like, every time there's a movie announcement, like when Ben Affleck was announced to be Batman, or when they change characters or cast new things, everyone's so pissed off, and then they see the movie and they're like, oh, it's okay. It's like, you guys, yeah, everyone just chill out. It's gonna be fine. So there's nothing wrong with that. So let's get into the actual leak. So keep in mind that this isn't proven yet. None of this is fact. We'll know more. Probably still won't be completely proven, but we'll know a lot more when EVO comes around. We'll have an announcement, we'll have more characters, but if you want my honest opinion about the leak, I think it's most likely true. Again, I always think about things statistically, logically. I look at the numbers. There's nothing, it could be complete crap. It could be absolute false information. It could be, but it doesn't make logical sense. Statistically speaking, it does not seem likely that this leak is a fake. So most of this video is going to be going off of the assumption that this leak is true. Because if this leak were fake, then everything this person has leaked, this credible source, would also be false too. Not impossible, but extremely unlikely. So, and the funny thing about it is that so many people assume that this is this leak, that this one person got this information out there, and people are so dumb to think that this isn't done on purpose. To think that this one person is just leaking information and that they're just screwing over both Disney and Capcom. I would be willing to bet money that both Capcom and Disney are fully aware of this leaker and are allowing it to happen intentionally. I would not be surprised if that were the case, because that's happened with games and movies before. They will intentionally let someone leak information just to get people's expectations at the right level. Because it's better for the company to lower people's expectations before something comes out versus having it being released and disappointing people. Letting their expectations get lowered, get pissed off, then let time pass, they get over it, and then they purchase the game. Because the fact of the matter is that people need to know, I've studied a lot about copyright law when I was in school, and anyone that lays a single finger on this game has to sign a non-disclosure contract. And you bet your ass Disney is on top of this. Disney and Capcom are huge conglomerates, so you bet they're on it with everyone. It would be very easy for them to find out who this person is, and honestly, the non-disclosure contract means you are not allowed to talk about this in any way. It doesn't matter if you leak information or if you just talk about this with your wife when you get home from dinner. Either way, the second those words leave your mouth, you are now in violation of that contract, and you are breaking the law. They have the right to pursue that person and sue them in the court of law. So that's just fact. I guarantee every person has to sign that contract. So for one person to leak some information is possible. But for one person to leak information, big news multiple times, is just not possible without them knowing. So I guarantee Capcom and Disney know about this and have some kind of big game strategy involved here for this information to get leaked. Because they could very easily find out who this person is. If they're breaking the law, all these companies that are hosting this post could very easily track down this person. It's not very hard to do. When the law is being broken, they can track someone down, especially if they're breaking it on this scale. So the people that think this is some secret out there, that there's not an ulterior motive from these companies, is just ignorant. I guarantee Disney and Capcom know about this, and it's part of a plan, if it is true. That's keeping in mind if this is true. If this guy's making up bullshit, then no one cares. But if it is true, I promise you that there is some kind of plan that this is being leaked intentional in some way. So I just wanted to get that out there. So, the thing that people were upset about is the fact that there are only 28 characters. And there's such a debate about, oh my gosh, I can't believe they chose this character instead of this character. Why isn't this person here? Why isn't this person here? And it's like, you guys, everyone, just chill out for a second. It's not like they put someone in place of another person. It's not done yet. This is just a small preview of what's coming. Yes, it's what's going to be on the release date, but you have to keep in mind that this is just how things are going to work now. This is how Capcom always works. They've been dangerously close to bankruptcy so many times because they have lost a ton of money over the years. Every game they put out never meets the expectation. Street Fighter V is the perfect example. It was way below their sales goal, as is pretty much any Capcom game that's been out lately. the past couple of years. They just never meet the goals, but they usually make their money back through other ways. And that's through DLC, because the DLC honestly ends up making more money than the game itself, and other things like their promotional stuff like Capcom Cup. They get all these sponsorships, so they get money through that, and they have that special on TBS with Street Fighter V. They get all kinds of promotional sponsorship money, all kinds of shit like that. So they make it back eventually. So even though their original sales goal for the original title isn't that much, that's okay. So I don't think they care about that too much. So if their goals for the initial hard copy isn't that much, it will be eventually. Because when they start adding DLC, people will go to that game eventually. Once the character gets to the high enough count, people will buy it. So being upset about the initial roster is pointless. There's no reason to be upset about it. The only reason that people might be upset about, that I understand, is the cost. Some people are upset that they want a complete game when they buy it. It's like, yeah, I get that. I totally understand that. I don't blame people for not wanting to spend more. But you got to realize this is reality now. This is where we are in our evolution of games. And this is how it's going to be in the future. So it's not going to be as simple as just paying for a game anymore. Everything's connected now. It's not like when we were kids and you bought a game and then that was it. There was no way to update it. Everything's getting updated. And you guys know when you play cell phone games, you can get the games for free, but there's always stuff you have to purchase in the game and stuff like that. That's just the world of business. People are money hungry and they need more money to continue the game. What you need to realize is that this game was on a budget, a very, very small budget. And that's why we're seeing a lot of repeat characters, because they don't have the time or the money to put into development of new characters. They just imported characters over from Marvel vs. Capcom 3 because they're already finished. They're already balanced. They already have a moveset. All they have to do is create an updated 3D model, and that's it. That's all they had money for. So that's why we only got like 4 or 5 brand new characters. But when the game comes out, they will sell it, then they will make money. Then they'll have money to develop the new characters. Then they'll have money to put back into it. Since they've lost so much money in the past, they can't put up money up front anymore. They can't do that. And that's exactly what happened with Street Fighter V. They didn't have enough money or time to finish it, so they put it out there, because why the fuck not? And whatever money they made, that's what they have to work with. So they use that money to make it better. And then when the next DLC comes, if that makes money, then they put it back into the company and make it better, and so on and so forth. So the basic idea of it is it just doesn't start out. It's a small snowball effect. It has to start tiny because they can't risk that much money, because they can't risk bankruptcy. So it has to start small, and then it has to snowball. True that we as the consumer get a little bit screwed because we have to pay more and more. Yeah, it's a shitty system. But it is what it is. There's no way around it. And I'm surprised that anyone else is surprised. It happened with Street Fighter V. It happened with Killer Instinct, which wasn't Capcom. But that's just the reality of it. No one was pissed off about Killer Instinct because everyone knew it was a brand new game. They don't have money. It has to start small, but they add and add to it. And honestly, Capcom has always done this since the days of Street Fighter 2. When they made Street Fighter 2, and then they made Street Fighter 2 Turbo, and then they made Super Street Fighter 2, and then they made Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, and they made Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo Arcade Edition, and Ultimate, and all these things. The fact that anyone is shocked that this is happening is just ignorant. There's no reason you should be surprised about that. They have been doing this since day one. At the end of the day, they're not in the charity business. They're not here to just make a great game. They're here to make money. So if what they're doing isn't doing that, they will absolutely take the chance to take more money from us. Me personally, I don't mind it. I've never minded this kind of situation, and for a very specific reason. I'll give an example. When Super Smash Bros. Came out, when the first trailer came out, they only had a few characters. Honestly, I wanted to play it right then. I even told my friends, like, I'd be willing to throw down my $50 or $60 today just to get a version of that game to play today with only 4 characters, and I'll get the other ones later. I'd rather have the game sooner and try it out, and when characters come, they'll come. I'd rather it be that way than wait 2 or 3 years for a full, complete game. Like, I don't care. I don't mind spending a little bit extra. I want the game sooner. If they come eventually, I'm fine with that. If they said there was only 28 characters in the game, the end, yeah, I'd be pissed off. I wouldn't buy that game. But as long as they come eventually down the line, I'm pretty okay with it. And I bought the deluxe version anyway with the statues, so just me personally, I don't mind spending a couple extra bucks because I'm such a fan of the game. This will give me years of happiness and entertainment. I still play Marvel vs. Capcom 3 to this day. So the fact that a game can entertain me for years to come, I really don't care what the price is. I would pay anything. I would pay another 20 bucks for each character. I really wouldn't care. But that's just me personally. I understand there are people that are a younger crowd that don't have a lot of money. I get it. I totally understand. But this is the world we live in. This is what you're coming to expect. So you just can't be surprised in it anymore. And they're going to make a new game, Street Fighter 6 or Marvel vs. Capcom 5, and the same thing's going to happen, and the same people are going to be upset, and it's just a waste of time. Recognize the patterns, people. Just like I've said in my collecting advice, look to the past to predict the future. Recognize the patterns and see what's going to come. This should be no surprise to anyone. This is just the reality of it. And the leaker said, one of the leakers, I don't think it was Rice, but it was the other one that leaked it first. The name of the leaker I don't recall. It doesn't matter. But he said specifically that the DLC is already planned for years to come, assuming they get enough money. But they said one of the leaked characters that said most likely was going to be DLC was Venom, which I totally predicted. I knew he was going to be in it, had no doubt in my mind. But they said in the leak, we weren't sure if it's going to be this year or next year, meaning they have a whole nother year of DLC planned in the future. So that's a lot of characters. And they even said after the game's release, there'll probably be 2 characters a month for the remainder of the year. So they're going to be releasing them. As long as there's money flowing through it, characters are going to be coming at a pretty rapid rate. So I'm fine with that. As long as my characters that I want come eventually, I'm okay with that. I'd rather get the game early, just treat it as a demo version, and then just play it and get cool with it. And then when my characters come, they'll come. I'd rather get it in small drip feeds than one big package at the end. I'm okay with getting it in small amounts here and there. That doesn't bother me. So as long as it comes, and if they're already planning it for a year in advance, you know we're going to get a handful of characters. So it shouldn't be that surprising. Even Marvel vs. Capcom 3, when it was released, only had 38 characters on the original version. So it's still, 28's a lot less, but it's a smaller budget, things like that. So most people speculated the starting roster to be in the 30s, and it's 28. So a few less than people speculated. Not that big a deal, guys. Not that horrible of a situation. And you know, a lot of people are saying that, oh, we hope this is just the leaked roster that they're going to release at EVO. I thought that too and hope that, but it just doesn't seem likely. I doubt they're going to release a whole 28-character roster just for EVO. We'll probably get 4, maybe like 8 characters released at EVO, and then another couple at CEO, and then wait for the rest when it's released. Because it's really not that far away. It's pretty close to it. So those are the thoughts, and that's the reality of the situation. Everyone just take a chill pill and realize that it will come eventually. Yes, you're going to have to spend a little more, but you're always going to have to. When it's such a big title, especially a crossover with Disney and Capcom, yeah, you're going to have to pay a little more. I'm sorry. We're all sorry that we have to, but it's always going to be that. When it's a big name title, Street Fighter, Killer Instinct, Marvel vs. Capcom, you're going to have to pay more. Again, if you want. You don't have to. You don't have to get those DLC characters, but if you want the whole package, you're going to have to pay more. It's a shitty system. It's a crooked, thriving world of criminals that we live in that want more money, but that's what it is. The sooner you accept it, the sooner we can all move on. So that's my advice to you. Just kind of relax and just realize that it's going to be okay. Everything will be fine. So, what to talk about next? So I want to talk about some character speculation. And again, we'll get the discussion going about everything I said too, that after everyone's calmed down, I want to talk about all these topics, so feel free to comment on anything along the way. I want to do some brief character speculation. Again, what you can most likely expect from this game. And people were so shocked. There's so many articles I read about the whole 28 character leak. People were like, oh, there's no X-Men. This is bullshit. It's like, you guys, are you fucking retarded? We knew there wasn't going to be X-Men in there. Everyone knew that from the get-go. People thought there wasn't going to be X-Men ever, but if you believe that 28 roster leak, then you have to believe Rice's previous leaks, which specifically said X-Men and Fantastic Four will be in the game at a later date as DLC. So if you believe one leak, you kind of have to believe them both, because you can't have one without the other. And that makes total sense. The the story mode's gonna be based on the Marvel MCU, the cinematic universe. Makes total logical sense. And then all the other characters that aren't part of the MCU are gonna be DLC. Makes perfect sense. I'm not surprised at that at all. So the fact that people are surprised there's no X-Men and Fantastic Four, chill the fuck out, they're coming. How many of them will be? That's tough to say, and that's where we'll get into this character speculation. Probably not a ton, because you know the situation that the whole license spread thing, like, yes, there's a lot of question marks up here and there. So let's talk about some character speculation, starting with the Marvel side, which I know best. Mouth's getting dry. Really dry. Bad cotton mouth. Okay. So far, I've really seen no surprises. I think all the characters they've announced up until this point were given. I don't think anyone is shocked at all at the characters that have shown up so far. The only new characters we've gotten on the Marvel side is Ultron. No one's surprised about that. And Captain Marvel. I don't think anyone's surprised about that either, considering she has a movie coming up. And I'm pretty sure she's going to play a very big role in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I'm not positive on that. This is just me assuming. I think she plays a very, very large part. She's a very powerful character. Captain Marvel is extremely powerful, so I think she plays a very crucial role, but that's just me assuming that. So no one was surprised by that. Same with the Capcom side. It's all a bunch of returning characters, which is just because they're on a budget, it's easy to do, just import them over. And then the new ones, Monster Hunter, which was probably one of the most requested characters from the Capcom side. No surprise there at all. And Mega Man X. Not Mega Man X and Jeddah. So Mega Man X, again, was one of the most requested characters. Was fully intended to be in Marvel vs. Capcom 3. They said in an interview they had full intentions of putting him in there. They just ran out of time and eventually lost the license. Their contract with Marvel ended and they didn't have time to put him in. So again, no one should be surprised, but everyone should be excited because they were very sought after characters. And Jeddah, I'm not too familiar with Darkstalkers, but I've seen the characters. I love their character designs, by the way. I think they're amazing. I'd love more Darkstalkers characters, but they always pick the crappy ones. Like, I don't give a shit about Felicia or Shenko, and I honestly don't even care about Morgan. There's so many cooler characters in the Darkstalkers universe that would be really badass, like John Talbot, and there's so many more of them that I think would be really cool. So I'm more than happy to see Darkstalkers characters, and I'd honestly be fine with them throwing out some of the old ones. I'm sure Felicia will come back, but I would not care if she didn't make it at all. So, again, three characters to be excited about, but stuff that no one should really be surprised about that they're in there because they were so highly requested. And the rumor is, we're going back to Marvel, that the first known or assumed DLC is going to be Venom. I'm not surprised at all, and I was going to make a character speculation video. That was going to be on the top of my list was Venom for multiple reasons. One of the most requested characters on the Marvel side. Two, their recent partnership with Sony bringing Spider-Man back into the cinematic universe temporarily. And three, I've noticed just in the collectibles, Marvel has been promoting Venom a ton. We've been seeing, obviously Avengers stuff, but we've been seeing Spider-Man and Venom being promoted a whole bunch in their recent line of collectibles, and in random stuff here and there. He's just been popping up a lot, so that made me believe that temporarily they're okay with promoting him, because I think he's gonna be coming back into the movie, something like that. But I was not surprised at all that I'd have no doubt in my mind that he absolutely will make it in. Now, we'll go through some of the obvious characters. Obviously, the Avengers were in there. No one's surprised about that. They're all about Capcom, Disney. Any game is all about promoting their own product, their cinematic universe. So the fact that all the Avengers are in there shocked nobody. No one's surprised at all. And there's probably going to be more Avengers to come. I have a good thought that Vision will most likely make it into the game. Not guaranteed, but I think he has a very strong chance of being in this game. He plays a big part in the movies, and he's obviously going to be in the Avengers 3 and 4, or possibly 4. So I think he has a very good chance of making it in. Also, we're definitely going to see more female characters because we have barely any at this point, and they're always big about balancing it out between male and female characters. They always have been. They did that a lot in Marvel vs. Capcom 3, and I'm sure they absolutely will in this one too. So I think we're going to see another female rep, probably from Avengers, and I would think it would either be Black Widow or Scarlet Witch. Probably one of the two, possibly both, but one of those two because they definitely want more female characters and they definitely are going to try and promote Avengers even more than they already are. So those two have a very good chance of getting in there. So moving past their cinematic universe, now they have this television universe, the TLU I guess you could call it. So I have a feeling they're going to want to promote that as well, and I'm kind of surprised they didn't make it into the original one, but I'm sure very obvious ones. I think Daredevil has a very good chance of getting it in. Same with Punisher. I think has a decent chance of making it in. I know he's highly requested, but I'm not sure how much more he's going to be in Daredevil. I didn't watch Season 2. For all I know, he got killed off. I'm not even totally sure. So he has a good chance of making it in, but I'm not totally sure on that one. And the same with Luke Cage and Iron Fist. Iron Fist, I'm pretty sure will make it in because they already have him already cooked up, and it'll be easy to import him over. And I think Luke Cage as well because I think they're going to do Defenders. From what I heard, they're either doing a Defenders show or Defenders movie, something like that. So I have no doubt that they'll try and promote those characters. So Iron Fist and Luke Cage have a very likely chance of getting in. Same with Daredevil and Punisher, because I think they're going to want to promote their TV shows as well. And so far, they haven't done that. They have no TV show characters in there. So I wouldn't be surprised at all to see those characters. I think they have a very good chance of getting in there. Also, I think they're going to want to do at least one Inhumans represent. Someone to represent Inhumans. At least one. Who that's going to be, I don't know. I don't want to go so bold as to guess exactly which one's going to be in there, but I think one character from that is going to be. They had an Inhumans movie planned, and I was excited for it, but they canceled it, and I was bummed. Now they're doing a show, and it's like, well, shows, who cares? But I'm sure they'll want to do at least one Inhumans rep in there, maybe to translate it over into the cinematic universe. I'm not sure, but one of the Inhumans it's anyone's guess. It might be, is his name Black Bolt? I may be getting the name wrong with the DC character. Oh, it's going to bug me later. But the main guy from it, the one that doesn't speak, I can't remember his name right now, and I'm blanking on it. Anyway, I would have a good guess it would be him. He's a pretty cool character, and I think he'd be very well liked. But it may be one of the female reps from that team because they may want more female characters. But I'd say at least one rep from Inhumans will make it in. Another one would be Star-Lord from Guardians of the Galaxy. Now, they put Gamora in, which, not too surprising. It just kind of depends on how they make her look and what her moveset's going to be. She's an interesting character. And then they have Rocket and Groot supposedly as a team, but we don't actually know for sure. So, Groot may just be there to assist him. I wouldn't be surprised if they're together. Honestly, I think that'd be a really cool character. I definitely want to try that out. But Star-Lord is a highly requested character. He'd be pretty cool. He has guns. He could be like a long-range character. He could be a keep-away character. Who knows? But I think he still has a good chance of getting in there. I think more of these movie characters still have a decent chance of getting in. So I still think Star-Lord has a pretty decent chance of making it in, but not for sure. And I think that would be it for Guardians of the Galaxy if I had to guess. Then moving on from there, so there was that whole thing about they announced all these comic book covers that are going to feature Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite artwork, I think on the covers, and one of them was Spider-Man Deadpool. So that led people to believe that Deadpool will be in the game, which I would love that. Deadpool was my main go-to guy in Marvel vs. Capcom 3. He was my favorite, one of my all-time favorite characters, played him to death on that game, so I would be stoked if he was in there, but being perfectly honest, I don't know if he will make it in. I'm not totally sure if he's very high on the list because he's a very popular character. But again, they're definitely going to limit the whole X-Men, Deadpool, Fantastic Four. They're going to let some in, but it's going to be a very small amount. And I don't know if Deadpool is going to make the cut. And someone actually brought up a very good point that, you know, it may not be Deadpool, but it may be an iteration of Deadpool that's still owned by Marvel, like Gwenpool, which they could very easily give the exact same moveset, still owned by Marvel, so they wouldn't be promoting something they don't want, but still could make it in. So we may see something like that, just a different iteration of Deadpool. Believe me, I definitely want Deadpool, but I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a different iteration of him to kind of half-please fans. So I'm not totally sure. He has like a 50-50 chance of making it in, if not an iteration of that. Sorry about that. Camera timer was running out. As I was saying, so Deadpool has a moderate chance to make it in. I wouldn't say he's extremely likely, and it wasn't even his own cover. It was a Deadpool Spider-Man crossover, so I'd be super ecstatic if he made it in, but I wouldn't get your hopes up about that. If he does, great, but don't get your hopes up about it. It may be an iteration of Deadpool like Gwenpool, or it may be none at all. He may just not appear in there, which would be a real bummer. Yeah, I'd be sad too, but I'm sure I'll find someone else to play instead. So now let's move on to the less likely of them, but ones that will absolutely make an appearance in some way or another. And that's the ones that they don't have the licenses to, or they don't have the cinematic licenses to, which would be X-Men and Fantastic Four. So, we'll definitely see them, but probably in very limited numbers, which I know is a bummer because Gambit is one of my all-time favorite characters, and I wanted him in Marvel vs. Capcom 3 so bad, and they were planning on doing it. Again, same thing with Venom. Didn't have time, got cut off at the end. It's like, well, shit. So I'd love it if Gambit made it in, but I would say like less than a 10% chance that we're going to see any form of Gambit, because I'm so bummed about that too, and he hasn't been in since Marvel vs. Capcom 2, so I would love it. I would pay good money to see him in there, but probably not very high on the list. And same with Cyclops. Cyclops was a really cool character. He was very popular in Marvel vs. Capcom 2. He was a really cool character, really good, but again, very minuscule chance that he will make it in. If they're going to do X-Men and Fantastic Four, it's most likely going to be returning characters. We'll be lucky if we see any new characters from X-Men or Fantastic Four, or even any characters from Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Very slim chance. But what we probably will see, I would be baffled if we didn't see Wolverine. I would give it like a 90% chance that Wolverine will appear in this game. I pretty much have no doubt in my mind, unless this whole rumor leak thing is an absolute crap. I know everyone knows that Marvel Disney doesn't want to promote Fox and things like that, but at the same time, they're not that stupid. They're not going to lose money on a game just because they don't want to slightly promote something. So you can pretty much rest easy and know that Wolverine will definitely be in there. Past that, probably the returning characters. We probably Magneto and Storm probably have a very good chance in it. I wouldn't be surprised if those three made it in. Maybe Sentinel. And again, I'm bummed that Sentinel might not make it in because he was on my team too. He was one of my mains. But he has a slimmer chance. And past that, probably no others from Marvel vs. Capcom 2. And probably no new ones. Maybe one new X-Men character that hasn't been in there, that maybe isn't in the Fox Cinematic Universe yet. Maybe someone that they wouldn't be promoting. So they may throw a little curveball and put someone like that in there, but there's no guarantees. So like I said, very small on the X-Men. Unfortunate, I know, but at least we'll get like Wolverine. At least he'll be in there, so there'll be some representatives. Same with Fantastic Four. I'd be pretty shocked if Dr. Doom didn't make it in there because he was crazy popular in Marvel vs. Capcom 3. So many people used him, so I'd be pretty shocked if he didn't make it. That would be the #1 choice. And Super Skrull was pretty popular. He might make it in. He has probably a 50-50 of returning because it would be easy to import the returning characters over. But that's pretty much it. As far as the rest of the team, I don't know if they're going to go out of their way to do that. They're pretty anti-Fantastic Four, so Doom maybe. I doubt MODOK, possibly. I don't know. I thought he was a crappy character. I thought it was stupid that he was in Marvel vs. Capcom 3, honestly, so maybe, probably Doom, maybe the other two. I doubt they'll have any of the main team in there, but they might. There's a chance, but doesn't seem likely, so maybe someone else from there. Shuma Gorath is kind of Fantastic Four Avengers. I don't know where the rights are on him, so I wouldn't be surprised if he made it back in either. I'm not sure where he lies as far as the rights go in the cinematic universe. Marvel might still own him. If they do, I think he would be. If they don't, probably not. Other than that, I think they want more female representatives, but I'm not sure where else they would go. I listed some in there, but that's my speculation for the Marvel side. A lot of more returning characters, not that many new ones, except for the few that I mentioned. Probably the new characters, I would say, from either the TV shows, then we'll have Venom, and more Guardians of the Galaxy, but that's pretty much it for new characters. The rest will probably be returning. So, again, it won't be a ton, so don't get your hopes up on that. But that's probably what we can expect from the Marvel side. Exact numbers, It's impossible to say. So many people that do character speculation put exact numbers of what they think is going to be in there, which is such a waste of time. It's impossible to predict. Even the game developers don't know the numbers at this point because it all depends. It depends on sales. If Marvel vs. Capcom gets released and they don't sell a single copy, you bet your ass they're not going to do any DLC. Like, they're not going to waste their time beyond the 6 they promised. Beyond that, they wouldn't do a character more, not one. But if it sells like crazy and goes beyond their expectations, we'll get a shitload of DLC. So it just depends. And the way people are talking now, initial sales are probably not going to be very high. So to say an exact number is a waste of time. Who knows? That's why I'm just doing characters and likelihood. That's all I'm doing. So now we'll jump over to the Capcom side. And this is one I know a lot less about. I'm definitely a Marvel guy more than a Capcom person. I know bits and pieces, so I have a lot less to speculate here, just because I'm a lot less educated. And I'm not going to throw out stupid guesses. I'm not going to throw out random things just to make the numbers even. I'm just going to do likelihood of what to expect. Now, one of the most requested characters was Leon Kennedy. And so many people were pissed off that Chris is going to be in there because they're like, where the fuck is Leon? And it's like, you guys, chill. It doesn't mean he won't be in there. If Leon's in, I'm sure he's going to have a much different moveset than Chris anyway. I don't think it's either or. I think Leon still might be in it, even though Chris is in it. Because Chris was such an easy import over that they're going to have to develop Leon, so I think he still has a pretty good chance of getting in there. So, needless to say, I think they will have one more Resident Evil rep, and I think it may be Leon, if not one of the creatures, like a Tyrant or something like that. I hope they don't put Jill back in there. She was so dumb in Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Maybe the version from Marvel vs. Capcom 2, but she might be, but I hope not. But I still think Leon Kennedy has a decent chance of making it in. I really do. I think he has a good chance. The next one would be Captain Commando, because he is so highly requested. But to be perfectly honest, I still don't know if he's going to make it in. He was very requested in Marvel vs. Capcom 3, equally as requested in this one, because he was so popular in 2 and previous games, and I like him too. He's a really cool character. Same with Jin. Jin and Captain Commando, I'll put on the exact same likelihood of them making it in, and I would say like less than a 50% chance of either of them making it in. They're both highly requested, but I don't think Capcom is really looking to promote them, and I don't think they have any plans as far as rebooting any of those games as far as I know. If they do have a plan to reboot it, then they have a good chance. But if they don't, I don't think they're going to make it in. Believe me, I'd love to see them. I think they're both really cool characters, but I don't think either of them are going to make the cut. They have a very small chance, maybe 30 to 40%, but that's all I'd give it as far as likelihood. So I'd love to see them, but don't get your hopes up on either of them. Next, hold on, sorry. Next is Zero. Zero was in Marvel vs. Capcom 3. He would be an easy import over. X was planned for Marvel vs. Capcom 3. He's in this one. They already have Sigma. I think it's a done deal that Zero will make an appearance. He was very popular in Marvel vs. Capcom 3. He's a very popular character in general. I give him an extremely likely chance, 80 to 90% likelihood that he will appear in the game in some way. Obviously, he's not in the initial roster, so I don't think he's going to be part of the story mode, but I think he has a very good chance of making it in DLC in some way. And possibly, very small chance they might even do one more rep, from Mega Man. I doubt it. I think it's a very small chance. I think it'd be cool. I think Mega Man has a plethora of awesome characters that they could pick from. Very small chance, but it's a possibility. But I think Zero is almost a done deal for sure that he will be in there. Because why not? If they have X in there in Sigma, I would be shocked that they wouldn't already have plans for Zero. Plus, like I said, easy to import, popular character. I think it would be ridiculous if he wasn't in there, so extremely likely that Zero will make it in there. Same with Frank West. It's almost been confirmed at this point that the leak had one spot missing for the Capcom side, and the leaker said they're pretty sure it's Frank West. And I would say the same thing. I'm pretty sure he will be in it too. He was decently popular. They might make him a little bit different. Maybe they'll make him look more like Chuck. I don't know. But I'm pretty sure he will make it in. It's almost been confirmed at this point, so extremely likely. Next, I would say possibly, most likely one more rep from the Darkstalkers franchise. But unfortunately, I think it is going to be one imported from Marvel vs. Capcom 3, which, like I said, is such a bummer. There's so many cool characters that in that series that would be awesome for the game, but I don't think they're going to go out of their way to create a new one. I think they're just going to import another, whether it's going to be Felicia or Shenko, probably Felicia, which is, I could give a shit less about, but one of those will probably make it in. I know one more Darkstalkers character to be for sure will make it in, who... those two, very likely. The rest, a lot less likely. But we'll definitely see one more Darkstalkers character. Next, Street Fighter reps. So we're definitely going to see more Street Fighter reps, no doubt in my mind. And I think a for sure character that will be in there is Akuma. Akuma is probably maybe the, if not at least one of the most popular Street Fighter characters ever, let alone one of the most popular Capcom characters. He was one of my mains in Marvel vs. Capcom 3. He's one of my favorite characters. Everyone loves him. He has been in, this is a weird fact by the way, he's been in the most of these games. Marvel vs. Capcom, including the ones before that, more than even Ryu. Akuma was a secret character in, I'm trying to remember which one, I want to say Marvel Superheroes or something like that, before X-Men vs. Street Fighter. He was a secret character in there. He was the first one to make the crossover. So he's officially been in more of them than even Ryu. He's been the most represented character of the Capcom side in all these games. So I think there's an absolute 0 chance that he won't make it in there. I'm going to give him a 99% chance that Akuma will make it in. And part of this strategy is, that I probably should have mentioned before this whole speculation started, they're getting rid of these dumb characters first. So all the ones that are being imported are going to be in the base title, and they want to save these more sought-after characters for DLC because they want your money. Big fucking surprise, right? They want money. Yes, they want your money. So they're going to make these character packs look awesome. So all the characters that you're hoping for, that everyone was disappointed weren't in the main 28, they're going to be DLC because that's just basic business strategy. Doesn't take a genius to figure that out. They're saving the cool characters for the later DLC because you can't get that DLC until you buy the actual game. So they kind of have to go through this whole chain of command to get to that. So yeah, of course they're going to save the coolest characters for DLC. They're only putting in 2 or 3 new characters on each side, just enough to get people to buy the game, and then we'll put one cool character in each DLC pack to make sure they get your money. So I'm sure he will be in a DLC pack at some point. I would be shocked if he didn't make it. I would give him almost 100% chance that Akuma will make it in. And on top of that, I also think we will get an additional Street Fighter representative. Whether Viper will make it back in, I'm not sure about that. I think we're going to get a new Street Fighter representative to represent Street Fighter V, to go back and promote their game. And a lot of people have speculated who it was going to be, and, his name's escaping me at the moment. Oh, what the hell is his name? One of the new characters in Street Fighter V. Damn it. I'm going to be putting it right here because I can't remember the name. There it is. That character, that's who most people speculated it's going to be. And I kind of agree with that. I wouldn't say for sure, because it could be anyone, because honestly, no one would have expected Viper, because I understand why they needed a female rep, but she was an interesting choice. But definitely someone that's in Street Fighter V that hasn't been in Marvel vs. Capcom before. Who it is, most likely the character I listed. I think that will be it. If not, someone else from Street Fighter V to represent that. I think that's almost a certainty. They'll pick at least one more of that, if not importing for ones from Marvel vs. Capcom 3. But I think that'll be it for Street Fighter. So at least one more to represent Street Fighter V. And the last two I'll talk about are Virgil and Wesker, who we haven't seen, both crazy popular in Marvel vs. Capcom 3, and I'd be pretty surprised if they didn't both make it in. Because Resident Evil's already represented there, and Devil May Cry is already represented there, so I wouldn't be surprised that characters that are that popular, that are that easy to import over, I would not be surprised at all if they made it. I'm going to give them, honestly, Virgil probably an 80% likelihood, and Wesker probably a 70% likelihood that they will make it in there, and they will most likely be DLC. But that's why, because they were so popular that people are going to want to pay for that DLC. And again, that's the business strategy. So I think both of them are very likely to make it over because of popularity and just the easiness to import it over. Other than that, as far as new characters from the Capcom side that we haven't seen in Marvel vs. Capcom 3, I don't have many other guesses than that because I'm not super keen on it. My only other guess was the Monster Hunter representative, and that's already been semi-confirmed as part of this leak. So, other than that, that's pretty much all I had to say. a lot. This is like an hour-long video. But I want to hear your guys' thoughts. What are your character speculations? Is there someone I didn't list here that you think will absolutely be in there? What is your percentage likelihood that you think that character will be in there? Also, is there characters that I listed that you think I'm crazy about that definitely aren't going to be in there? Or do you think I generally have a good idea? And let's hear your thoughts about the game in general, what I said about it. If you're really pissed off, let me know if this video has calmed you down at all, if this video has helped you, or if it's just enraged you more, if you're even more furious than you were before you clicked on this video. That's okay. You're allowed to be pissed off at me. That's okay. Be nice about it, but you can tell me that you completely disagree. That's okay too. The whole point of this is just to get the discussion going and start this. The reason I made this video is because I think it's a lot different than all the other ones out there. The character speculations and the reactions to this leak. I think this has different information and a different viewpoint, which makes it different from all those ones that you probably watched like 50 times in the past week. So that's why I wanted to do it, to give a different perspective on it and to look at this logically and calmly. But let me know what you guys think about it. So this has been a horribly long video, and I'm sure you're tired of hearing me talk, but don't worry. We'll be back to the usual shit on the next video. More boxes and reviews. Anyway, let me know what you guys think, and we'll talk about it in the comments. Thank you all for watching. Love you all. Peace.